Hello and welcome back to Tom's Dotson Garage. Thank you for joining me once again on my journey for the 1971 240Z restoration. So where we last left off about 5 months ago or so for my last real video was I had gone over the parts car in its entirety to kind of let you know that it's not really a candidate for restoration, but it's got a lot of good parts on it that I can use to get me back on track with my 1971. Every single thing you see here on this table is from that parts car. And a few of you had mentioned, well, why don't I just do a time lapse of me taking the car apart? I thought that was going to be a boring process to watch and no one was going to watch it anyway. But what I wind up doing was I took my main camera that I'm talking to right now and I set it up over here in the corner, and I took my iPhone and I set it up over here in this corner to get two different angles so that I could do time lapses and piece everything together in the video, in the editing, so that depending on what side of the car I was working on, you could see the whole picture between both camera angles. Well, in an ideal world where I know how to use settings on these cameras, I would have had that for you. But when I reviewed what I recorded on the main camera, it was pretty much unusable. By the time I put it in the editing software, I had realized that I had the settings wrong on the camera itself, and it was a disaster. I didn't scrap what I did record from the main camera because I'm going to be able to probably learn how to fix that and eventually maybe even make a video that I wanted or close to it out of that recording. So I do apologize I don't have a really good full video of a time lapse of the car coming apart. Unfortunately, the only type of recording that wound up being usable was the one from my iPhone, and those are the ones that I used to make the short videos. And if you go over to my short videos section, you'll see that I've uploaded quite a few of those during the teardown process, and I also went over what it takes to prep this hardware and get it ready for plating. And so let's talk about the plating. I had a plater in North Carolina the last time that did all of the parts that you see up here on the 240Z's hood. These are the original parts to this car. This is everything that made it up there and back to the plate from the plater. I reached out to them because I couldn't find any hours of operation. And when I got all this hardware prepped, I needed to just shoot up there to North Carolina and drop it off and shoot back. It's a 10-hour drive one way, but I went over my car for the trip and everything. Like, I was ready to go. So I didn't see any hours of operation on their website, and I reached out to them. Had a little thing on their website that said contact us, so I clicked it and it brought up an email. So I emailed them, I don't see any hours of operation on your website. Do you guys have any Saturday or Sunday hours that I could drop this off at? And, I let them know who I was, of course. Hi, my name's Tom. I had parts plated there last year off my 71 240Z. And, when the parts went missing and I was talking with them at the plater in North Carolina, he was such a nice guy. He said that, bring me the parts that you need plated when you get them, the replacement ones, and I'll plate them for free. And I was never, ever going to hold anyone to that. But that was such a nice thing to say. Such a nice thing. So I reached out to them via that email and, what are your hours of operation? Or do you have an area where I could drop this off, like a shipping and receiving area? I could shoot up there, drop it off, and then they can come in during, a Monday morning or whatever and pick up the parts and bring them inside and do their thing. So a day or so goes by, And I get a email back, and here's the email I got back. Yeah, yeah, that's right. They no longer do plating for restoration parts all of a sudden. So now I have to go out and find another plater, which is a whole process in and of itself. You have to sift through horror story reviews and you just don't want to go through any kind of trouble, especially what I've been through. You don't need that. So, thankfully, I did find a plater, and it was a lot closer than 10 hours away. It was only about 2 hours and 15 minutes away, about 2.5 hours away. And I talked with them, and they had an area that I could drop the stuff off of on the weekend because they weren't open on the weekends. So I went ahead and shot up there on a Sunday morning and dropped everything off. And then that was right at the very beginning of December, I believe, right after Thanksgiving. And so that means the holidays were coming up, and their hours were going to be, they weren't going to be there as much, which, I mean, the holidays, of course. It's a busy time of year for me, too. We got all kinds of birthdays and, Christmas and Thanksgiving and just all that. So, with all that in mind, I knew that it was going to take a while for this to get done. It took about a month. So not the end of the world. I had other things to do in the meantime anyway. In fact, right at the beginning of December, I got really sick. I don't know if it was COVID or what, but it stuck around for almost 6 weeks. And then I was almost completely over it. And then it came back again. Same thing, with a vengeance. So I'm at the tail end of that right now. So I've been dealing with that in addition to working a full-time job and taking care of my other responsibilities and duties around my house, keeping up with things at my mom's house too as needed. So, but the good news is that you can see it here on the table. It's finally over. I've got all the stuff back, plated, that I'm going to get back. That's going to be plated. So going forward from this point on, because I know I don't have everything I need, I'm going to source it as new. I know Nissan still offers a lot of hardware and bits and pieces new. And if I find myself needing that part, then I'm just going to go ahead and order it new. And I'm just going to do it that way going forward because I don't feel like having to source another car and take a part off of it and wait for it to get plated again. That just holds everything up. But I can tell you right now, my next step is to get all of this over here sorted. Because as you can see, I've already started to lay things out. So once I get everything laid out, where the next steps are going to be, such as brake lines and fuel lines. And if you look right here, I'll give you a little close-up of this. This is the brackets and hardware that hold together the brake lines and fuel lines. They hold them to the car. That's going to be one of my next steps, as well as getting the cross member put on for the front so I can bolt suspension to the car. So I did order a few parts yesterday, brand new parts for the car. Those parts will probably be showing up within the next couple of weeks. And my goal for 2025 is to get this car sitting on 4 tires, making it a roller, so that I can get this stand out from underneath of the car, sell it, reorganize the stuff that's underneath the car, which is a lot of its own parts, and start getting the interior and sound insulation and so forth put back together, the doors, the window regulators, all that stuff to get the car closed up. But making it a roller is my first priority. And I am going to be putting in orders for suspension and brakes after I do the brake lines and fuel lines. Now, one of the parts that I know that I don't have is this right here. These parts sandwich the front cross member for the suspension and engine cradle, basically, to the body of the car. And I am missing one of these. The parts car was missing one of these. And my original ones went missing, thanks UPS. So I am going to have to at least source one of these. I don't know if I can get it new anymore. If I can, I'm going to. And as well as some of the hardware for that too, because I know that the driver's side had the hardware I needed, but the passenger side that had been replaced entirely on that car, it was kind of a mishmash of hardware. So some of this stuff I won't even be using. Some of this stuff is not even original Nissan hardware, but a lot of it is. Majority of it is. So I will use what I can, and whatever I can't, I'm going to buy new. And over here in the front, some of the items, I don't think they got tossed around in the plating very well, in the drums, and they look a little sad. So I may snail mail those up to him to have those pieces just redone. There's nothing super critical there, but you know, I could use a couple of those parts. Anyway, so that's what I've been up to for the past few months. Holidays, being sick, waiting for the plating to be done, finding another plater because I couldn't use the plater that I used the first time, because they apparently don't do that anymore. Amongst all of that, we had to put one of our cats down. That was a horrible, horrible thing. So it's been a busy few months. So I've already let you know what I've been doing and what's going on and what's here and what's coming up ahead as far as my parts for this car and to make it a roller. So I do apologize for the lack of main videos over the past few months, but if you check out the short videos, you'll basically see the process. It just dragged out a lot longer than the little slivers of video that I did post, but you'll get an idea on what to do should you want to do this process to your Datsun. Anyway, thank you for watching. I wish this was a more exciting video. I'm hoping to have another video up sooner rather than later. I am going to be taking a vacation next month, so I'm hoping to have a video up maybe before the end of this month, and then possibly sometime in April or May. So I appreciate you all for watching and sticking with me while I go through this process. I hope you are learning some stuff at least along the ways if you're planning on doing this to your own Datsun. If you like what you see, let me know. Hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. I normally don't say to do that kind of thing, but it does help the channel. Do what you feel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video soon.